Constructive trust applies to common law couples in the sense that there's no legislation that dictates how property is to be divided for people who are not married. It fills a gap in the legislation because the Family Law Act only applies to married couples. There's no specific property legislation for common law couples, so the courts use a constructive trust to fill the gap to ensure fairness for common law couples as well. The constructive trust interest is relevant for married couples, but for the most part, under the Family Law Act, there's a division of property under Section 5 of the Family Law Act, the division of net family property, which is very different from a constructive trust. So for the majority of cases, judges will rely on the Family Law Act to divide property for married couples and will not use the common law remedies. The most common use of the constructive trust that I see is with respect to a home. Very often in a common law situation, one spouse may be entitled to the house and the other spouse is not entitled to the house. However, they've lived together for some time and the non-titled spouse has made contributions to the house. There's no automatic property division under law for that non-titled spouse. So the court will impose a constructive trust to say that that non-titled spouse has an ownership interest in the house. There's a lot of gray areas because the Family Law Act is a lot easier for married couples because the Family Law Act is basically everything that's accumulated during the relationship by either party is shared. So it's black and white. All you have to do is figure out what you came into the marriage with and what you're going out with the marriage, and it's shared between the parties. With a constructive trust, it's a lot more gray because you have to show contributions to the property. So it's not enough just to say that I've been with the spouse, for my common law spouse, for 10 years and therefore I get half of his or her property. You have to show that you've done something to add value to their property. So what happens with a constructive trust, it leads to very extensive litigation. Often leads to extensive litigation because there's no presumption of property division as there is under the Family Law Act for married parties.